And our today guest is Mark Blinder from ORE Network, and I'm happy to welcome you, Mark.
It's great to be back. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. We are long-term friends with ORE Network, and we want to hear what's updates from your side. But before going with updates, maybe you can introduce yourself and the project for those who don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'm a serial startup guy. Icon is startup number 5, where I've been a senior executive or a founder. So really proud of that whole history, doing things from launching a social network that was on the old Razor phones, pre-iPhone days,
Oh.
dating myself a little bit, all the way up to enterprise software, project management software, everything kind of in between. Icon's the first blockchain company I founded. It was founded in 2017, and I have to say, blockchain as an industry is by far the most interesting and kind of intellectually stimulating industry I've ever worked in. So, really love what we're doing at Icon. As you said, we're a big part of working on the ORE network. Everything we do with our products is built on the ORE network. So, really excited to be here today talking about ORE and Icon and all that good stuff.
That sounds very cool. I mean, being serial entrepreneur means you bring a lot of experience. Also maybe some failing experience. What is also good, I believe, because if you fail, you can make things better.
Yeah.
That's good.
Absolutely.
And what's let's say to be on to come back to Icon to ORE network. What is the main difference between ORE network and Icon? Because some people might wonder, okay,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's really built in sort of the vein of Ethereum and consensus, right? So there's Ethereum and the Ethereum Foundation. The foundation is a nonprofit that releases software updates, gives away grants to developers, things like that. So the ORE Foundation is the equivalent of the Ethereum Foundation, and Icon is the equivalent of consensus. So consensus, for those who don't know, they built Infura and MetaMask and different projects like that. They're a for-profit company. They operate out of New York. They have shareholders, they have venture investors. And so we're the same thing. So at Icon, everything we do uses the ORE network. We're huge believers in the future of the ORE network. But there is both the foundation and the private corporation.
Sounds clear, but what is the main difference from ORE network and Ethereum, for example? How would you describe this
Yeah,
part?
so we strongly believe in a future where there are multiple blockchains. We're not maximalists on any, Bitcoin, Ethereum,
Yeah,
Polygon. We're not any kind of maxing.
nobody's.
We believe in multiple blockchains. And so the difference with ORE is it's a purpose-built blockchain just for handling digital identities in a way that's self-sovereign and protects user privacy. So we're trying to build with like true blockchain ethics and like do things the right way. But unlike typical layer ones like Ethereum or Polygon, or Avalanche, right? Any of these layer ones, we don't have a Turing complete supercomputer for the public to use. The ORE network just stores identities, and the identities we store plug into those other blockchains. So you could use the ORE ID product in a dApp on Ethereum. You could use it in a dApp on Polygon. You could use it in a dApp on Avalanche, on Algorand. We do, I think, 8 or 9 different blockchains right now, and we're always trying to add more.
Okay. Okay. I mean, to me, I'm a technical guy, by the way. It makes perfect sense because I also don't believe you can build up with one single blockchain every sort of use case as possible. To have a or ID as use case only for ID makes sense. But I know about your competitors. I mean, there are some projects running this or trying to do similar like you do. And what would you say are your main USPs compared with these guys?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things we're best known for, right, is this product ORE ID. And so, ORE ID is uses the ORE network as the core identity, but to plug in all these different blockchains. But what ORE ID does is it lets you log in with Google or Facebook or Apple login, all these kinds of very easy to use logins that the average consumer is used to, right? So on the one side, we compete against uh, sort of other digital identity standards by saying, okay, we know consumers don't care that much about ethics. We wish they did. They don't care that much, but we think developers do, and blockchain developers in particular really do. So we're going to give something that's like ethical for the developers. They're going to plug it into their app, and for the consumer, it's seamless. They're not even going to notice it, right? Oh, I log in with Google, and now I'm getting a bunch of NFTs in this game, right? So that's our typical users, like an NFT game or
Yeah,
things like
that's
that are
true.
very popular right now. So that's on the one hand, we're competing with these other decentralized ID platforms, which I think have a chicken or egg problem of like, why would the users want to go there without an app that's already waiting? So our approach is to kind of say, okay, no, you've already arrived at an app and you're going to log in and we're going to do it in a decentralized and ethical way when you get here. So that's one part. And then on the flip side, you have and like the other side of our competitive set are products like maybe a Web3 Auth or a Venly or Magic Link, where we are more decentralized. We have a decentralized vision. We have a self-sovereign vision. We make it very easy for users to come, enter or leave the system, for businesses to enter or leave the system. And the master identities in our system are stored on a blockchain that is run by nodes all over the world that is not under our control. And so I think that's on the one hand, we're easier and more user friendly than these like true just DID standards. And on the other hand, we're more decentralized and more ethical than these just easy wallet standards. So we're trying to be kind of Goldilocks in between to give you that blockchain ethos, at the same time, give you that ease of use.
That's cool. I mean, I think it makes totally sense, let's say, to make this bridge to traditional industries to Web 2, because this is how we or our ecosystem will survive and will come to next highs, right? We cannot capsule ourselves. I mean, speaking about the whole blockchain Web3 world, and say, okay, we are here creating our own use cases. No, we have to go outside and to say, okay, let's use blockchain for this specific case, for example, for identities. Just a clarification question. So you have a wallet, right? So you have a wallet. What is a gate, let's say, on ORE network, and saving identity? What does it mean? Have I have I copy to copy my pass, or how do I do
Yeah,
this?
that's a great question. So typically, what we've been doing in the past is identity on the blockchain is a wallet. It's a cryptographic key pair, right? It's like my public key on Ethereum or Polygon is my identity, right? We've actually just signed a deal at the end of December with our first regulated financial institution. So now we're also going to have to start adding those KYC, anti-money laundering, OFAC, all those kind of regulatory compliance pieces of identity. Like you're saying, do I need to upload my passport? So we're going to start doing that on the ORE network as well. Some of that regulated identity. So today, what people are doing on ORE network is I'm using my Web2 identity to control my Web3 identity. Tomorrow, we're also going to add my off-chain regulated identity into that same technology in that same pool.
Okay, I just want to ask about long-term vision, but it seems like you already answered the question. So basically, it's about to integrate all sort of identity and use this, for example, as a gate to an exchange or even to a bank, right? So it's a
Absolutely.
long-term vision, maybe. And
Yeah.
what would you? Mhm.
Sorry, but yeah, because like we truly believe in 10 years, maybe 20 at most, but not that far in the future, every financial asset in the world is going to be on some form of blockchain because the accounting is so much more accurate. I think the regulators and consumers are tired of all these scams and frauds and right.
That's
And so
true.
I think we'll see everything from bonds and stocks to bank accounts to the title to your car to the title to your house on a blockchain. All different blockchains, maybe all on one blockchain. Who can really predict that? But some blockchain will have all these different assets, and we want to make sure for people they can just log in with the one account. They don't have to understand, oh, my title to my house is on Polygon, but the title to my car is on Ethereum or something like that. Like
Mhm.
the average person doesn't need to remember that. They can just remember, oh, I always log into these things with my Gmail account, or I log into these things with my Apple account. Great, fine. You just remember that, and we're gonna deal with all the hard stuff, pulling these different worlds together for you.
Great. Great. Yeah, I mean, let's move towards this, but on the time frame basis, what would you say? So how long does it take to implement the KYC part so you have all the identity stored in one place?
So I think we are expecting to have that. You never know with engineering, but we're expecting to have that live later this year, like 2023, for people who are watching it right now. Trey, our CTO, has a pretty amazing architecture already laid out with, all in pseudocode. The way he's designed it, I think is quite brilliant. We're gonna reveal a lot more of that in coming months. Right, the whole
Mhm.
architecture. As always, we want to be very public with these things, but at the same time, we want to make sure we have readable docs when we announce things and stuff like that.
Yes.
We don't want to just.
Okay.
I'm already kind of maybe opening the kimono a little more than I should, but
Oh,
that's
thank you.
no, it's a pleasure. I mean, it's a big part of our future uh, for the ORE network, and obviously Icon building on top of that. Um, yeah, and I think this year is a lot about for Icon is a lot about scalability too, because one of the other things that's been happening recently, because I think partially because we have this more decentralized vision, we've had a couple different blockchains adopt ORID as a standard for their blockchain. And so that's been a big innovation in our business model and our kind of go to market strategy with these deep partnerships with layer ones, where the foundation pays for it and the developers get to use it for free. So, for example, today, if you want to build on Telos using ORID, the Telos Foundation pays, the individual
Mm.
developer doesn't have to pay, and then all of the developers on their ecosystem have the same easy login, right? So we're expecting a lot of growth to come from that partnership, and then another blockchain we just signed that we can't announce yet, but coming
Mm.
soon, that we'll be announcing. And so I'm really excited about the growth this year, and then I'm really excited about this kind of deeper identity vision as well. Those are the two really big things for the year.
That sounds really cool. As with Telos, I didn't use this. Congratulations. I don't know when you signed this, but
Yeah, we just announced it pretty recently. Yeah, and people can follow our blog or follow us,
of course,
Team Icon on Twitter or
always follow ORE Network and Scaleswap.
exactly. Um, yeah, and we're always announcing these things, but I think this Telos thing is really exciting because it gives them a chance to do something for the whole ecosystem that gives back to all the developers at the same time. And we're just really proud to be a part of it.
Great. And the other partner, what you cannot announce, we can expect that in several weeks or so, you will come up with these partnerships and
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
let's
Because
say,
the engineering work is already deeply underway with this partner. So like the engineering work's already been happening. So I think it'll be ready to be announced in probably a month or two. And that one's big in gaming. And so what we've seen, and I don't know if this is just because the whole blockchain industry right now, but all the use cases we're seeing right now are either GameFi, NFTs,
mhm.
gaming and NFTs, or finance and like new finance. And like both of those are super exciting verticals. And most of our announcements, I think, for the rest of this year are probably related to one or the other of those verticals because that seems to be the hot thing right now.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, it's clear thing because who needs ID? Who needs identity? Banks, right? Kind of
Mhm.
financial institutions, and gaming. it's surprising to me, but maybe as well.
Well, I
It,
think the thing with gaming is they need the best possible user experience because no one wants to like go get out MetaMask in the middle of a game, right? Or you're like, oh,
yeah,
I'm
it's
playing this
crazy.
game on my iPhone, like go switch
Yeah,
to this other app and then come back and like
true.
so that's why I think gaming really needs that good user experience and finance needs that depth of identity data. But finance also needs the privacy, right? So that's always been, I think, one of the hardest things on the blockchain is striking that balance between
Hmm.
privacy and transparency. Blockchain is great at both, but their intention, right? And so in regulated spaces, you have to really do a lot of thinking about the right balance between
That's
privacy
true.
and transparency.
Therefore, semi-transparency is the best, is the
Yeah.
key, right? How you solve this. Well, cool updates from your side. Um, Speaking about your token, now coming to your token, how would you describe? I mean, I know it's utility token. Maybe you can describe what's
Yeah,
with the
absolutely.
token. Hmm?
Yeah. So the ORE network, like I said before, it's run by a group of block producers, which is what we call the nodes on the network, all over the world, right? And so, like any blockchain, not any, but most blockchains, the tokens are used to exchange value between the companies that are and organizations that are storing data on the blockchain, i.e., storing identities. You pay in tokens, right? Now you are staking the tokens to store the identities. Um, the any business, right? Like we have Red Fox Labs. It has a game called Cog Slam. You download it in the Google Play Store. You install it. Someone logs in with Google, on their phone. Every time that happens, tokens have to be staked to create that account, and that rewards the block producers who are running the network, right? And so it's classic utility token, right? Like the most basic, like you want to store data on these blocks, then you pay tokens to store data on the blocks. That's the system, and that's fundamentally what it's all about. And I think the more valuable the network of users is, the more I think it will appeal to even more
You
businesses
get,
to adopt it, right? Like,
mhm.
oh, these other financial institutions are already using it, or these other games are already using it. It actually has that kind of network effect where it becomes more than just the sum of its parts. The more and more popular it gets.
Okay, a clear thing. So basically, it's kind of gas token, right? So we can gas
Yeah,
token utility for the ORE network.
yeah.
And
It's not
speaking
really a
about,
transaction fee. There's no
yeah,
transaction fee on OR, but it's essentially a storage fee. So yeah, but it is. Yeah, it's like gas. It's like the oldest idea in blockchain. Essentially, you're like paying to write data onto the blockchain.
paying
It's
for
it's
transaction. I mean, sounds fair, right?
yeah,
I mean, it cannot be for free everything. But I just
exactly.
remember one thing about the nodes. Is it possible to extend your network for a node provider? So if I would say I want to run a node for ORE network, can I do this very easily? Or
Well, so I guess it is easy for people who know how to run servers, right? It's because we're so narrowly focused on identity, it doesn't use nearly as much like processing power as other blockchains, right? So it is easier. You couldn't tell your neighbor to do it, but any developer
yeah,
that's used to running servers could very easily do it. And yeah, absolutely. Like the OR protocol repo has instructions on how to become a block producer. It's a public network and all that kind of stuff. Um,
okay. My question was rather, is it okay for you? I mean, you have proof of authority or the
but
consensus network, proof of
it's delegated proof of stake. So there's
delegated
21
proof of stake.
nodes that are officially block producers. Then there's what we
Okay,
call
I see.
the backup nodes that are waiting in case one of these falls over. Uh,
Uh,
and
I
then you've
see.
always got 21.
I see. And but I mean, you have a program probably for node providers because they are important, let's say, support to the network, right? They distribute the nodes. It's a
Yeah.
very important thing. Without this, You don't have
Yeah,
real
they're running the
decentralization.
blockchain. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a blockchain without the nodes, right?
No. No.
Completely,
No. No.
absolutely. Yeah, and so super critical. And again, anyone who wants to uh, run nodes on OR, we're like very excited to talk to you. The other block producers, I'm sure, would be very happy to talk to people. So Icon does, we run a couple nodes, but the vast majority of the nodes are run by other companies. And so people can, it's all listed on the OR.network website, has a list of all the block producers.
Check it out,
Any
guys.
one of them would be happy to help people get onboarded as block producers, I'm sure.
Okay, that's really cool. Really cool. So, speaking about the token part, so you said it has a clear utility even now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's been used. So Aura accounts have been created for multiple years now. So we actually, because we wanted to be very careful, you can probably hear from my accent, I'm American. We all know the laws in America are not
yeah.
100% clear. So we were trying to be as conservative as possible. And the node network, the OR network was being used for over a year before any tokens were sold to the public. So the
Mm.
real utility from the beginning, uh, real developers are buying a lot of the tokens to store things for the utility use, right? That's like definitely what uh, we've been working on for years now, and trying to make sure that we follow the law and
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, that's how it should be with all the recent
yeah,
news. I mean, we know that regulations are coming to the next iteration. Therefore, we have to comply with everything, and this is very important for serious businesses. And I'm pretty sure that you are building serious one. Therefore,
yeah,
it's like
that's what we're trying to do. I mean, we just raised our Series A in
oh,
September for Icon.
tell about this. Tell about
Yeah,
this.
super excited. It was led by Morgan Creek Digital, so they're a huge venture fund. They backed Gemini, they backed Coinbase, they've backed a lot of Block Daemon. Like they've backed a lot of really high credibility projects. They operate out in a very regulated world. They really did great due diligence on us. So very impressed with them as investors. Very proud to have them on our board. We also had Blizzard Fund was one of the other major investors. So that's the ecosystem fund for Avalanche. Very proud to be involved with them. And just really excited to have multiple years of runway in the bank for Icon, and more customers signing up each month, right? And that's, it's a bear market, but
yeah.
like we just got to keep doing our job, and like I think good things will happen in the long run, right? If we come to work every day and like Trey always says, do real things for real customers, like that's what we need to do every day. Like things will take care of themselves as long as we keep doing that.
I pretty support this one. I mean, everyone speaks about this. This is a year to build, right? We have to
Yeah,
build thing. We have to deliver value, and the value should be very clear. It's not about like, okay, I do another blockchain thing, I do another blockchain game. No, it should be really valuable, clear use cases. And for
exactly.
me, ID use case with Aura, it does make sense.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where Icon will always have lots of competitors, I think, right? Like all the things we do for profit, but or may not. The idea is someday could the ORE network be like DNS, registry,
Hmm.
a public registry for all these identities because no one owns it. It's nonprofit, right? And so yeah, maybe VeriSign's for profit. There's lots of competitors, and like you might not go with VeriSign and get your cert somewhere else. But like SSL is used by everyone. It's sort of free for the world to use this public system. And so that's what we're really trying to do here is have this public key registry that's really valuable for the world. And at the same time, Icon can hopefully make some money during that journey.
It's a great vision, and I wish you all the luck to achieve this vision because,
Thank you.
and I also like the very clear words, like you're speaking about the business, about the revenues, because so it should be, right? You're creating not only a public network, you're creating this icon uh, business which should produce revenue. And
Exactly.
some developers from the blockchain ecosystem, they try to pitch something decentralized without revenue, without business content, and this is actually also a bad thing. I just want to underline that, like this approach.
Yeah,
uh,
and then and we there's a whole team involved in Icon. There's also this kind of separate group that's doing the network, right? And the whole vision is that if Icon goes out of business, gets hit by a meteor, whatever, like we want the ORE network to keep going, and everyone involved in ORE really believes in that part of the survivability and the openness of that system, even though we're here trying to make money.
yeah, this is exactly what you're gonna do: improve the world and make business money, right? It's like what Google do, what Microsoft do, OpenAI with ChatGPT, etc. By the way, speaking about AI, have you thought about some use cases where you can apply AI in ORA network? Is it something what you at least speaking about internally?
It's interesting, actually. The first one of the first use cases that ever happened on the ORE network back in like 2018 was an AI use case. But that whole business that was doing that, the AI use case was super cool. I can see you've got that space imagery behind you. It was actually using neural networks to analyze images from space telescopes, like done with
Okay.
some astrophysicists. Super cool, right? Try and find objects in space. And the problem was in that first crypto winter, the 2019, late 2018, early 2019,
2020,
wiped everyone out.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah, like wiped out that whole thing that was going on with AI and blockchain. And so, we'd be up for it again. Like, I think that stuff's really cool, but right now it doesn't seem to be something the market's really looking for.
Okay. Also, I also cannot imagine something where you can apply AI, maybe only for recognition of
Faces.
passports, of documents, maybe for these. But
And with
yeah.
that, we want to partner. So, like, for example, we have this
Mm.
partnership with Humanoid. They're doing like facial recognition, creating an artifact on the blockchain, like super powerful. But like they're experts in that. We're not. Right. So like with that kind of stuff, we really look to partner with people that are doing that kind of really good work. Uh
Great, cool. Mark, unfortunately, our time is like running away, passing, and you already shared lots of updates with us, with our community, and I'm curious how people will react to these updates. Especially, I like that you could get some strong VC on your uh, cap table, let's say, so you have strong backing, strong support. This is very important. Is
and
this anything you want to share with us as in addition?
yeah, well, the OR network obviously is a public blockchain. The token is available publicly on dexes. Anyone who's on Scaleswap obviously saw that. But MXC just recently decided to list the OR token. So by the time people see this video, it is probable that OR will be live on MXC in addition to
Oh,
decentralized exchanges. So if you're developers that think you might be interested in using the OR network in the future, or someone who wants to be a part of the sort of future of digital identity, obviously you could always have gone to QuickSwap or whatever to do that, but it's a lot easier to go to someone like MXC. So starting February 15th, live on MX.
well, interesting, interesting. So it's a great news because it's a big partner, big player in the, let's say, in this ecosystem, and
Mhm.
congratulations to this.
Thank you.
It's of course easy access for everyone, right? So let's see
Exactly.
how it goes. Good of luck, best of luck for this.
Thank you.
Well, maybe you have last words before the next update towards
Yeah.
Scaleswap community or other
Yeah,
people
well, the
who
last thing I
watching.
would say is, like, thank you all for still believing in this technology. Even though it's a bear market out there, I think the volatility has no effect on what we're really building here, and that takes everyone. It's the Scaleswap community, it's the ORE network, it's 1,000 other developers working on things right now on blockchain. I really do think we have a chance to restructure a lot of power structures in this world to make them more transparent and more fair. And I think it's a really good use of everyone's time to participate. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Cool last words, Mark. And yeah, indeed, we have to build. We have to build on the one hand, on the other hand, we have to keep going and to bring more sense into the whole system. And this is what we are trying to do. Let's say, speaking with cool projects like Aura, like with you. And I wish you personally best of luck. And I'm looking forward to see Aura ID in many, many applications. So
Me
good
too.
luck to you.
Thank
Today,
you.
Mark Blinder was with us, and I hope, guys, you have a great afternoon.
See y'all
See
soon.
you. Bye bye.